protests and anthems. Yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the power. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, I best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They can be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. When we at the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanize so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time.
You are listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent, having a good old time here on the West Coast, enjoying some sunshine on the West Coast before I get on, not the midnight train, the midnight plane to DC. I'm in touch until you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and I pop right on up. Fresh for you to follow. Also, download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. Now, listen up and listen closely. Our KBLA Talk 1580 4th anniversary events are fast approaching, and seating at all 4 of our special events, it's getting a little tight. Have you registered at our KBLA1580.com website? Well, if not, let me encourage you to stop and do it right now. Do it right now so you don't get left out. It's our 4th anniversary, and we want to celebrate it with you. And if you're planning to join us for our 4th anniversary celebration and barbecue on the Juneteenth holiday, well, we're asking everyone to bring a food gift card of any amount for the victims of the Altadena fire. Grocery store chain or restaurant, we're grateful for whatever you can bring to help the families that are still displaced by the wildfire. So go to our KBLA1580.com website right now and sign up for the events you plan to attend. All of our anniversary events are free, but seating is limited and you got to register. And so thank you in advance for doing that. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off, the Trump White House saying that Joe Biden should speak up about Joe Biden's mental health. That's right. President Trump's top spokesperson called for the former First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, to speak up about former President Biden's alleged mental decline, saying that she conspired to keep her husband's health from the American people. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's comments today that Joe Biden should address, quotes, when she saw and what she saw, came in response to a reporter's question on whether the former First Lady should testify to Congress about the former Democratic president's health. Aides close to President Biden and his wife did not immediately respond to questions or comments about growing calls from the Trump White House. The 82-year-old Democrat announced just last week that he'd been diagnosed with an aggressive stage 4 prostate cancer. Now, is this par for the course? Is this politics as usual? hearing a White House press secretary challenge a former first lady whose husband has just been diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer to tell people what she knew and when she knew it. Didn't they just do a joint interview on The View? And didn't she just say that she wasn't trying to keep anyone away from the president? She said it was preposterous. I don't know. But we'll continue to keep our eye on this. And other news coming out of the White House, the Chicago Tribune is reporting that the White House says that Israel has accepted a new U.S. proposal for a temporary ceasefire while Hamas is evaluating it. That's right. The fresh signs of progress towards a temporary truce came after President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, expressed optimism earlier this week about brokering an agreement to halt the Israel-Hamas war and return more of the hostages captured in the attack that ignited it. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters that Israel, quotes, backed and supported the new proposal. She added that Hamas continues to evaluate the proposal. Hamas has said it had agreed with Witkoff on, quotes, a general framework of an agreement, and they agreed to that framework that would lead to a lasting ceasefire, a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, an influx of aid, and a transfer of power from the militant group to a politically independent committee of Palestinians. You've seen the video. I've seen the video. A lot of us have seen video of folks starving in Gaza. I mean, we've reported on, the World Kitchen basically closing up shop. Jose Andres' organization closing up shop because they didn't have any resources to serve food to people. We saw the Palestinian ambassador to the United Nations in tears just yesterday, talking about the conditions on the ground in Gaza. And so this ceasefire, this framework, this deal is long, long, long overdue. Back here in the United States, colleges are canceling special ceremonies for graduates from marginalized backgrounds. Now, fun fact, when I was an undergrad student at USC, I actually was the student speaker at Black graduation, right? And so I know how special that can be for oneself, one's family, one's community, and how special that tradition is just in general. And the fact that there are a number of colleges that are halting affinity graduations is disturbing, but students of color are planning their own cultural celebrations anyway. NBC News reporting that graduating students of color at Harvard University and other colleges across the country would end their semester by attending affinity graduation ceremonies. But this year, they had to organize these celebrations without the school's financial backing. Harvard, currently battling the Trump administration over a range of issues, halted all of its affinity ceremonies for students this year. This left alumni stepping in to raise funds and students scrambling for new spaces. Members of the Harvard Black Alumni Society raised $46,000 for this year's event after the university announced on April 28th that it would no longer fund their ceremonies. An attendee of Harvard's canceled Lavender graduation, which celebrates LGBTQ students, said on Facebook that the small group of students had organized an independent event. Harvard's Asian American Alliance, their Asian American Alumni Alliance, said on Facebook that its ceremony was important for students to experience because they provide space for recognition, for solidarity and community in the face of uncertainty. The alliance said that the ceremony took place as the Trump administration announced plans to revoke student visas for international students at universities. And finally, a new COVID variant may drive up summer cases. And so folks out there, make sure that you're washing your hands as much as you can and being as safe as you can. And as somebody that travels between the East Coast and West Coast on a regular basis. Andy, you know that this thing gets to me. When people, are coughing and not covering your mouth, what is that about? Huh? What is that about? You think we want to sit there next to you and hear you cough and hack without covering your mouth with your hand, with a handkerchief, in the elbow, right? You just over there just projecting matter into an enclosed space. We don't like it. So stop doing it. Cover your mouth. And, look, there are so many different masks out there that you can use where you don't even have to use your hand. I personally am a big fan of the Henry mask. They're aerodynamic. They're not like sitting on your face. But wear a mask. Be considerate. That's all we're asking. Be considerate. A new COVID variant that's gaining momentum globally. It has landed in the U.S. The World Health Organization announced just last week that it was monitoring the variant NB181 following a rise in cases in several parts of the world, including Europe, Southeast Asia, and North and South America. The variant appears to be more transmissible than the dominant strand worldwide, that LP81, meaning it has the potential to drive up cases this summer, but it doesn't seem to be much better than LP81 at evading protection from vaccines or a prior infection. So for folks out there that are saying, well, I had COVID, a few months ago, I should be fine. This variant don't work that way. The World Health Organization has found no evidence that it leads to more severe illness. So the agency has determined that it doesn't pose an added health risk. But who wants to sit up there during the summertime and not feel well and be sick? And so be vigilant out there. Wash your hands. Take care of yourself. When we come forward, I'm looking forward to being in conversation with Todd Belcourt. He has been a guest on the show many times before. He is the executive director of Social Change. He's an international advocate for social and economic and racial equity. And we're going to dig beyond the headlines when it comes to what's happening at Harvard and to what degree Harvard is the canary in the coal mine for a lot of other schools, including our HBCUs. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Todd Belcourt when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Travis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Travis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Took the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do know about it?
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PUSH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hit me! National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and Todd Belcourt will join us as soon as he can. But we still want to talk a little bit about Harvard. And I keep going back to Harvard because Harvard is one of the best positioned colleges and universities to fight back against all the pressure coming down from the Trump administration. They have one of the largest endowments of any college or university in this country, of any college or university in the world. And so threats to federal funding for research and all sorts of programs, at least in the short term, they can do better than most other colleges and universities in terms of weathering the storm. But it doesn't mean that we all can't learn a bit from what Harvard's future might mean for the future of, colleges and universities that maybe our alma mater or our HBCUs more specifically. And so, I've been, paying extra close attention to some of these headlines, as I'm sure many of you have. One of the biggest trending headlines right now, ABC News reporting that the Trump administration is backtracking on their Harvard foreign student policy ahead of a federal hearing over Harvard University's ability to enroll international students. The acting director of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they issued a letter today giving the school 30 days to challenge the administration's revoking of their certification. The letter formally notifies the school that its student and exchange visitor program certification would be withdrawn, but backtracks from the administration's earlier stance by giving Harvard 30 days to achieve compliance, right? And so this is a big threat for a lot of colleges and universities, including but not limited to Harvard. They make a lot of money from international students, right? And so if suddenly the administration were to make it difficult for colleges and universities, or impossible for colleges and universities to enroll international students, that has a direct impact on revenue into the school. It has a direct impact in terms of the culture on college campuses. A lot of folks look for diversity on campuses. They want to see and be in community with students that look like them, that love like them, that come from communities that are familiar to them, or familiars that they want to get to know more closely. And so that's why this is a big deal. That's why a lot of colleges and universities are paying attention to what is happening at Harvard. Because today it's Harvard, tomorrow it is a college or university near you. And that takes me to another point. So much of what's happening in the Harvard-Trump continuing saga offers us clues as to what we can expect in the near term. I don't think anybody's really paying attention to this, but I surely am. I noticed that there were a number of lawyers at Paul Weiss, which is a pretty big deal law firm, huge law firm. And you remember a while back ago, there were a number of law firms that, sort of settled with the Trump administration and basically said, we agree to provide you X number of millions of dollars worth of pro bono legal work. Well, Paul Weiss was one of those firms. The Washington Post is reporting that Paul Weiss lawyers are to join the Harvard board amid this war with the Trump administration. And so, I saw that and I said, what's that about? Apparently, the board that runs Harvard, University has added a member, added as a member and attorney at a leading law firm that recently struck this pro bono deal with the Trump administration to lift an executive order targeting the firm. That's what the university announced. Canon K. Sean Muggam, an alumnus of Harvard College and Harvard Law School, is a partner at Paul Weiss. Again, this is a really prominent DC law firm that was among those that were targeted by the Trump administration by executive order seeking to limit the firm's access to government buildings and federal contracting. Well, according to the announcement that Harvard put out, Sean Muggam has argued 39 cases before the U.S. Supreme Court, and they've argued more than 150 other appeals in courts across the country, including all 13 federal courts of appeals. It's pretty impressive. Their addition to the board comes amid an escalating fight with Trump and his administration, who, of course, have accused the school of not doing enough to combat alleged anti-Semitism on the campus, and they've sought to cut billions in funding to Ivy League institutions to force them to comply. Well, what does this mean? This newest addition to the Harvard board, it could cut two ways. the fact that they're coming from this law firm that cut this deal with the Trump administration, this sort of an overture to Trump? Is it saying, hey, stop messing with us. We have somebody from one of the firms that you settled with, that's joining our board, like, be cool, or is this Harvard recruiting a baddie, for all intents and purposes, who happens to be from Paul Weiss, to aid in their strategy to fight back against the Trump administration? I can't read it. It could go one of both ways. But it's something worth paying attention to. The fact that of all law firms that Harvard chose to bring on this new board member from Paul Weiss, that's not a coincidence. We're going to keep our eye on that. Because who serves on the boards of these colleges and universities, it matters. Look at what just happened at FAMU. Where basically they have an alleged MAGA president-elect of FAMU. And from what I've heard from other sources, there are a number of other HBCUs that are on the short list where MAGA is trying to infiltrate their board of trustees. They're trying to infiltrate their leadership brass. I guess the question is, what are alumni going to do about it? You may want to reach out to your school to ask them, what are they doing about it? Or you might even raise your hand and say, hey, maybe it's time for me to join the Alumni Association, take on a leadership role. Just saying. When we come forward, we are switching gears, but still digging even deeper into some of the day's most important headlines. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is reacting after President Trump said he will look at pardoning the men convicted of plotting to kidnap her in 2020.
I'm very disappointed that they're even considering it, frankly. When the president was shot at in Pennsylvania, I was one of the first people on either side of the aisle to condemn it.
She said she'll be making her thoughts known to the White House, and she hopes what she says will be taken into consideration. EA has canceled its Black Panther game and shut down Cliffhanger Games. The move shifts focus to titles like Battlefield, The Sims, and Apex Legends. EA continues work on Iron Man, Star Wars Jedi, and Mass Effect. And the original Broadway cast of Hamilton is returning for a special 10th anniversary performance at the Tony Awards. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Leslie Odom Jr., and V. Diggs will all take the stage next month. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Tough rolling through Pasadena, starting on the westbound side of the 210, leaving Mitchell-Linda. Delays ahead to the 134 and eastbound slowing for the 210. Loads up in Pasadena, Mountain in stretches to Azusa. Crowded through San Dimas from the 57 to Foothill, and Upland slowing at Baseline to the 15. 215 southbound in Devore, scene of an earlier motorcycle crash and ongoing investigation. That's 215 southbound just past Palm. The right lane is blocked. Delays backing up off of the 15 split.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
If you're an alumnus of Tuskegee University, one of our historic HBCUs, you should put this date on your calendar. Saturday, September 6, 2025. That's the date when the Tuskegee football team will play their first home game at night in the program's 131-year history. Tuskegee's home field, Abbott Memorial Stadium, never had lights all those years. With the help of Alabama Power, the electricity company in the state, lights have been built at the stadium and will be ready for use this season. The first night game will be against HBCU Central State, located in Wilberforce, Ohio. Abbott Memorial Stadium has a capacity of 10,000. Tuskegee alumni from around the country should pack the stadium for this history-making football game. In this climate of attacks on diversity, Alabama Power stood up for diversity and made a valuable contribution to an HBCU football program. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. You know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Just before the break, we were talking a lot about Harvard because as goes Harvard, as goes a lot of colleges and universities, not every college and university because they're not as cash flush as Harvard, but if Harvard is not able to successfully fight back, shall we say, against the administration, then what about some of our HBCUs, for example? Well, I don't know if you all have been paying attention to what has been happening with Florida A&M University, but there are a number of folks there that are describing the new president-elect of FAMU as a wolf in president's clothing. Let me explain. When Donald Trump first entered the country's political bloodstream, he rode it on a wave of anti-Black racism, claiming that Barack Obama was an illegitimate president by birth. Y'all remember that? And this isn't just me saying this. Frederick Ingram wrote about this in the Tallahassee Democrat. According to Fred Ingram, he says in 2025, during his second administration, he's gone after Black unemployment, or Black employment rather. Black female unemployment skyrocketed after he slashed federal jobs and targeted DEI roles, FYI. But he's gone after Black employment, Black history, and now in Florida, Black education. And while it may be that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' hands that pushed the unqualified Marva Johnson to be the new president of Florida's flagship historically Black university, Florida A&M, the fingerprints are Trump's. You see, Johnson has no teaching experience or educational administrative experience. Nothing that would make her a good candidate to run a prestigious university. Her sole qualification, you might be wondering, well, she's cozy with MAGA Republicans who some folks say will surely use her to institute the plethora of retrograde ideas that they have about race and equity and fairness. But we know this isn't new. Fred Ingram argues that DeSantis has previously put his thumb on the scale by installing other inexperienced, unqualified people to run organizations that they ultimately want to dismantle. Something he's done already at Florida International University with the appointment of former Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez as interim president, and potentially will do at the University of West Florida, where Manny Diaz, the current Florida Commissioner of Education, is considered to be the front runner for interim president. But this hit on FAMU was personal to Fred Ingram, and it might be personal to a number of you, folks who, like my mom, were born in Florida. You see, Fred Ingram was educated at Bethune-Cookman University. He started out as a music teacher. And when he sees extremist politicians install their own foot soldiers in the halls of education, he sees red. And a lot of people also see that. They also see the pattern. So this begs the question, what are other HBCUs going to do? Are they going to sit and wait for what happened at FAMU to happen at their college, their university, their alma mater? Well, NBC News is reporting that many HBCUs, they need government funding. But guess what? Some are preparing for a future without it. Colleges across the country are facing battles with federal government over funding, but similar cuts and the potential elimination of the education department may be an existential threat for historically Black colleges and universities. That's according to at least 6 college administrators that participated in this report. Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, FAMU's College of Pharmacy, lost $16.3 million. $16.3 million federal grant in late March as the Trump administration has threatened cuts at American colleges over diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. The moves are causing several Black colleges to consider what their budgets may look like with less, or get this, no federal funding. Still, for the 100 or so HBCUs in the country, some of which were underfunded by more than $12 billion over the last 30 years compared with non-HBCUs, and that's a 2022 Forbes analysis that found that, federal cuts may translate to staff cuts. It might look like fewer students. It might look like the elimination of certain programs. That is what a lot of HBCU administrators are considering. In fact, one of the HBCU leaders described a shared culture of concern across Black colleges. 54% of Black colleges' total revenue depends on federal and state funds. That's fact. Compared to just 1/3 of other colleges and universities, making them susceptible to economic downturns, state divestments from higher education, policy changes. That's what a United Negro College Fund report found back in 2019. And so, what does this mean for all of us? Do we just kind of sit around and allow our institutions, like our HBCUs, to be dismantled? No, I don't think so. That's not a part of the ethos that we try to build here at KBLA. It's not a part of the ethos that we work to build here on A More Perfect Union. It may be time for us to roll up our sleeves. It may be time for us to reach out to our alma maters and figure out how we can serve. You know, are you an active member of your alumni association? Maybe it's time to get active. You know, a lot of people out here, there's a lot of talent out here, right? Don't be too shy to bring your talent to the board of your HBCU, to your alumni association, right? I believe this in my bones, that the surest way that we get to the other side of whatever this moment in history is all about is together. It's together, it's in community. And you look at the history of our people, we got a blueprint. When we were denied access to the places and institutions that we should have had access to as American citizens, we said, all right, we're going to band together. Our churches were a part of how we pushed back, how we got over, dare I say. Our HBCUs were a part of how we got over. There's a whole generation of Black folks that weren't getting into Harvard. They weren't getting into Yale. They weren't getting into these Ivy schools, these Ivy League schools, but they were getting into HBCUs and they were getting a great education. And there's a reason why still today, most Black dentists, most Black engineers, most Black lawyers, most Black doctors got their education at an HBCU. We are literally a more perfect union because HBCUs exist. And the fact that there are forces out there that are working to undermine these HBCUs from the inside out, we can't let that happen on our watch. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580, the quiet part out loud when we come forward.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. It's time for the quiet part out loud, and it has something to do with babies. The White House wants women to have more babies. But guess what? They're ignoring part of the problem. Men. USA Today reporting that America's birth rate has been on a steady decline since 2007, and pro-natalists, both in and outside of the White House, are determined to raise it. But how? President Trump and his administration have reportedly begun wading through various proposals aimed at reversing America's declining birth rate. And according to the New York Times, some ideas that have been floated include scholarships for married people and parents, a one-time $5,000 cash baby bonus for mothers, and government-funded education on menstruation and ovulation. One pro-natalist activist also proposed that mothers of 6 or more receive a National Medal of Motherhood. Can't make this stuff up. And calls for women to bear more children aren't just inside the White House. They've infiltrated the cultural zeitgeist. Trad wives, have you seen this? Or homestead creators are making waves on social media for romanticizing the nuclear family unit that Trump and Vice President Vance have celebrated. But when partners struggle to conceive, the burden is rarely distributed evenly between men and women. Still, fertility experts say that we're missing a key component of the conversation: male infertility. Now, this is something we don't really talk about very often. Who knew that 1 in 6 people are affected by infertility? But, women, of course, carrying the major burden of that. But I want to speak to the brothers out there for a second, because the reality is that men are more reluctant to do fertility testing. Women have biological markers such as their menstrual cycle that serve as a checkpoint for their reproductive health. But men, on the other hand, well, we don't have an obvious visual indicator of sperm health. And so to test male infertility, doctors, they can look at the concentration of sperm and the motility, which is all about how active your sperm are. This usually involves going to a clinic and producing a semen sample, which, some guys may be reluctant to do. But in some cases, when male infertility is a contributing or sole factor, in vitro fertilization, IVF, is still necessary. But it should be done using, it's called ICSI. It's intracytoplasmic sperm injection, which involves injecting a single healthy sperm into an egg. Some people call it the world's tiniest surgery. But, I saw this article and I thought, you know what? Particularly for those of us that, may be over 40, some of us who might be, older parents or considering becoming older parents, it's always a good day to, check the health of your sperm. Check the health of your sperm. Ain't no shame in checking the health of your sperm. We can't build a more perfect union if you ain't got healthy sperm, right? And so no shame in that. We know that women have for far too long bared the burden when it comes to infertility, and it's an opportunity for the brothers to step up a little bit, and do our part. I mean, we always talk about health and wellness. Well, it's not just from the neck up and the neck down, but more specifically also from the waist down. That's one of the big takeaways from this article. And so I hope that folks will heed some of these insights. and for folks who are, thinking about starting a family, that they'll take this seriously. But I'm a little suspicious of why the White House is zeroing in on this. I have a few theories of my own. Remember, during the 2024 election, there was a lot of talk about so-called white replacement theory, right? And how there are folks on the right that it wasn't that they weren't unhappy. It's not just that they were unhappy with the decline in birth rates, but it was a decline in birth rates among white folks, right? And so let's not be naive and think that that political motivation might not be in the mix, because chances are it probably is. When we come forward in our next hour, I'm really looking forward to being in conversation with an incredible author. I am really excited to talk about Ariane Edmonds' new book. It's called We Belong to Ourselves. We Belong to Ourselves. I'm going to tell you about why I'm crazy about this book. And we're going to talk about some of the very high-level insights that you have to look forward to if you go out and get this book. So more on A More Perfect Union in our next hour. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Illinois Governor We're threatening to veto any taxes to.
I'm telling you, anything that's broad-based and that would have a negative impact on working families, I would veto a budget like that.
Pritzker said he would